Are you or a loved one disabled? Do you feel alone, lost, and confused as to how to win your Social Security case? If you're watching this video, it's probably because you have so many questions and you're desperately looking for the answers. Hi, my name is Avi Leibovic, and I'm the owner at Benefits for All and the lead attorney at Avi Leibovic Associates. Over the course of my 20-year career, I've overseen the processing and screening of over 500,000 disability cases, working with the largest hospitals, neighborhood clinics, primary care physicians, and even individuals who had no access to care at all. My strategies for how to win the case have made me one of the top experts in Social Security law in the entire nation. My life and my career were going great. And then one day it all came crashing down. It started first with some abdominal pains. And before I knew it, I'd been admitted to the hospital several times and I required multiple surgeries. I found myself unable to work and disabled and in desperate need of my own benefits. I understand exactly how you feel. I was in your shoes. And I'm going to take you through the process and help you and give you everything that I know so that you can win your case. I'm recovered and I'm back at work. And I have a newfound passion for helping disabled people because I myself have been there too. Call our office today for a free screening and to see how we can help you with your Social Security case. At the same time, enjoy these videos and webinars that we've prepared to help you understand how to win your Social Security case. Hey everyone, this is Avi Leibovic and you're watching another one of the amazing webinars that are offered by Benefits for All on how to win your Social Security disability case without the need of an attorney. It's close to 2 in the morning and I'm standing in Salem, Massachusetts in front of the Salem Witch Museum. Many of you may have heard about the Salem witch trials which occurred between 1692 and 1693 and which resulted in 20 people being hanged, 14 of them being women. They were hung because they thought they were witches or some type of sorcerers. But what many people don't know is that all of these people who were convicted and ultimately killed didn't have fair due process, right? The laws of the United States, it wasn't the United States yet, whatever laws were there, the common laws, were not given to them. What does that mean? It means that someone came with an accusation and they said, we think you're a witch. And the same day that they accused them, they had the trial and they were murdered and killed a few days later. No due process. So why do I bring this up as we stand here in front of the Salem Witch Museum? Because there is due process that's given to you. Each and every one of you along the path as you're applying for your Social Security benefits are probably going to have to encounter some level or some form of an appeal. Now, I want to focus on how you file that appeal because the appeal is usually within 60 days on the date of the denial letter, okay? The appeal submission is within 60 days. Sometimes you can add +5 because they allow 5 more calendar days on it for mailing. So 60 or 65 days, depending on how you count it, right, to appeal your denied decision. Now, talking about due process, what happens if you have to do an untimely filing? What happens if you file your case late? I've already been invested for 6 to 8 months on my application. I filed my reconsideration on time, but then, another 6 to 8 months passed, and then something terrible happened, and now I'm a year and a half into the process, and I filed a late request for hearing before a judge? What, they're going to throw my whole case out after a year and a half, 2 years of working so hard on this? What am I going to do? So the reason you purchase this webinar is because I'm supposed to teach you all the tricks on how to make sure that you win your case. So the topic of this webinar today is going to be the good cause for late filings, good causes for late filings. These are all the reasons that you can go ahead and you can ask either the district office if it's a request for reconsideration, the ODAR office if it's on a request for hearing, or the Social Security Appeals Council if it's an appeals council submission. You can ask them to accept your filing, your appeal filing, even if it's past the 60th or 65th day. So how do we do it? Everyone's ready? All right, let's go. Salem, Massachusetts, spooky, right? If you look up, there's something called the Social Security Administration POMS, P-O-M-S. It's Procedure Operating Manual. Here it is, section number G, like George and like Nancy, 03101.020. One more time, GN 03101.020, sections B and C. They basically give a list of reasons why an untimely submission will be accepted if there's good cause. So let's go over some of the good cause reasons, and then you have to ask yourself, if you find yourself in this predicament, right, am I a candidate for a good cause late filing? Let's go forward. One reason that Social Security will accept an untimely filing for good cause is if you, the claimant, was ill or you were in the hospital, and not only were you ill or in the hospital, you didn't have the ability or the capacity to call or contact someone that you know or Social Security office in order to file that appeal, okay? So you're in the hospital and you had no way to reach out and to contact Social Security to file on time. One of the second reasons is either a death or a serious illness in your immediate family, right? You're going to have to establish that, and you may have to provide some proof on that, but death or serious illness within the immediate family is a reason they'll accept the late filing. Another reason is perhaps you needed to submit something, right? Or you needed to have a piece of documentation that is critical to the case, and that documentation was destroyed in either a fire or some other accident, right? In this case, I think they're really talking about your denial letter, which is a bit of an important piece of information. So, Your Honor, I couldn't file in time because the paperwork which denied me was destroyed in a fire. If you go ahead and you submit that reason, and in fact it did happen, doesn't mean you can take gasoline and burn your stuff. It has to legitimately have happened. But if you go ahead and you submit that reason, the Social Security Administration will go ahead and accept your claim for a late filing. Another one is the claimant, you are still looking for information. You were looking for information as much as you could. Some offices are going to be a little sticky on this, but according to the regulations that I cited for you, sections B and C in GN 03101.020, it does say that if you were diligently looking for evidence, I don't know how you can show diligently. Maybe you might have to show that you had submitted a request to a hospital to request some more medical records. Maybe you had to fax something and you have a fax cover letter and you're waiting for the response back from someone, from a provider on something. You're going to have to throw that evidence and you're going to have to let them decide. But the bottom line is that according to the regulations, Social Security should accept an untimely filing if you were diligently trying to look for evidence. Another one is that you called Social Security or you wrote to them and you asked them to explain a little bit more about the information on why you were denied. They have an obligation to respond to you so that you can file your appeal within the time limit. But if you ask them a question or you send them a letter saying, I need you to clarify something for me, and you have proof that you sent it, and I always recommend sending those letters with registered certified mail return, right? Or you can do a fax cover sheet if you feel that that works and fax it into the ERE, which is the Electronic Records Express, which is basically at this point in this stage in the game in 2016, the main hub, the main center where all of your documentation that you submit to Social Security or ODAR is going to be faxed to. So you send it into the ERE. So if you send it in and they didn't respond back in time, you have a pretty good argument for an untimely filing. The next one, let's say that you don't speak English. Whatever different reason, your first language is English, or it's some Asian dialect, or it's Hebrew, or whatever language you want to pick, right? So early in the morning I can't come up with all the languages right now. If they send you the letter denying you in the wrong language, and the letter was in the wrong language, which explained your appeals rights, well then you have a pretty good reason for an untimely filing. Why? Because you didn't understand what they told you. And that leads into the next reason. If SSA denied your case, your appeal, or your reconsideration, and the reason that they explained it to you was based on faulty information. The reason they explained it to you, the information that they gave you was confusing, it was wrong, perhaps some of the paper mailed out was not all together. These are difficult arguments to make. I'm not saying you're going to win them, but again, according to GN 03101.020, sections B and C, Social Security Administration should be able and must accept your good cause for late filing. Another reason is SSA sent a denial letter to your house. There was only one problem. You don't live there anymore. You've legitimately moved somewhere else. Now, you can't say that I didn't get it, because if you lived in the same house and you lived at the same address and Social Security mailed it to you, there's a presumption by the Social Security Administration and a presumption by the judges who are part of the Social Security Administration that mail that is dropped within a mailbox is presumed to have been delivered to the location that they're mailed to. Right? I mean, after all, the government is protecting the government. How are you going to say that the U.S. government doesn't deliver mail? We have a terrific postal service, and it really is. For a few cents, you can deliver a stamp all the way to Alaska. I want to see how many of you, if I give you a couple of less than 50 cents, how many will go out to Alaska to deliver a message? Not too many of you. But the point is that you cannot say to the judge, Your Honor, accept my good cause filing because I didn't get the mail or it didn't show up. That's not going to work. A good cause filing is only going to work if you legitimately moved addresses and Social Security did not send it to your correct address. Now, the other last part that I want to add over here is that if you're at a request for reconsideration level, your good cause filing is going to be made with your local district office. If it is a request for a hearing before an administrative law judge, the entity that's going to go ahead and make the decision as to whether or not to accept a good cause filing is going to be the judge at the ODAR. And if you've already received your denied decision, unfortunately, or maybe you received, let's be positive, a partially favorable, partially unfavorable decision, and you want to appeal the unfavorable part and keep the favorable part, and you send your appeal over to Social Security Appeals Council, which is something that we'll talk about in another one of the amazing webinars. It's the Appeals Council that will determine if or not they want to go ahead and accept your good cause filing, which is untimely. And the very last thing that I want to talk about is something called a protective filing. And I probably will do a separate webinar just on protective filings because people don't realize how important those protective filings are, right? Let's assume that you needed to submit a filing on an appeal and you don't have all of the information that you need. You couldn't get all the signatures. You couldn't gather up all the information that you need, but you know that today is the 60th or 65th day. You got to get that filing in by 4 o'clock by the time the office is closed. What am I going to do? I don't have the signature. I don't have everything. You do a protective filing. What does that mean? That means that whatever you have, you fax it over to them and you throw a cover paper on there. I don't care if you take a piece of paper and a pencil. You don't need to type it. It's nicer if you type it. It's nicer, of course, if you have it laid out beautifully. But if you can't, you just take a piece of paper and you take a pencil and you write on it, Dear SSA, and you put your date and you put your name and you put your Social Security number. And you write, this is a protective filing, right, for an appeal. And you list your appeal. But underline the words protective filing or circle the words protective filing. And of course, always, you want to fax it into the ERE, but it's always great to give a call over to Social Security if you can to confirm that they received it. But you fax in that protective filing and you put a little star on that paper that says, I intend to file my appeal. I am now submitting a protective filing, additional information to follow. If you do a protective filing and you just fax something in, you're good to go. It lets them know that you had the intent to file, you were within the time period, but even though you didn't have everything, you're still making a good faith effort to try to get that in. And with that, my friends, I think it's time that we sign off. I've had a lot of people coming over here and looking at me. I had some police officers a couple times drive by. I think they want to make sure that I'm okay. But from Salem, Massachusetts, the famous location in town of the Salem witch trials, which I think there was a great movie about it, but you should really look it up on the internet if you can and understand the due process institution, the due process implications of what happened. I sign off from you from the Salem Witch Museum, spooky museum, and I say good luck on your case. You don't have to be spooked. You don't have to be afraid. You have due process rights, and if you know what you're doing, you can pull this off without an attorney. I'm teaching you how. But if you feel that this is getting a little too complex, if you feel you need to hire the big guns and bring the big guns in, www and Benefits for All, give our office a call, and we will make sure that your case is properly worked. We'll make sure that the laws are enforced, and we'll make sure that just like and justice for all, we say in the Pledge of Allegiance, we're going to make sure, and benefits for all, that you're going to get your benefits, because this country is governed by a set of laws and rules. And we can't have field offices, district offices, ODARs. We can't have these ad hoc underground rulemaking opportunities that go on where some lady or some man go ahead and within their four corners of their little building, they decide to enforce certain rules in the way that they want to do it. That's not the way this country works. We have laws, we have regulations, we have statutes, and that's what we're going to follow. The law and regulations say you must file an appeal within 60 and 65 days. You must file that appeal within 60, 65 days. But the laws and regulations also say that if you have a good cause for an untimely filing, SSA must accept your case. And we're going to use those laws and we're going to fight for you, and I'm going to teach you how to go ahead and make SSA accept your untimely filing even if you are late. All right, everyone, good luck. Download some more webinars. You want to win your case? You want to learn what to do? Download it. It's all there for you. All the best. www and Benefits for All.